Hi guys, just thought I'd do a little video on my mowing setup. I haven't explained what I use before, so I thought I'd just give you a quick rundown so you know what sort of gear I use. That's my trailer. It's a 7x4, yep, with the mowing box in the front. It's an odd size, most are 7x5 around this area, but because of where I used to keep the trailer, I had to have a 7x4. I now have this carport where I keep it, so I could have a bigger trailer, but this one's only a couple of years old. I had one the same size that rusted out, and before that I had a galvanised one that was a bit smaller, so which would still be going today. So any advice I can give is if you can afford it at the time of getting one made, you know, get it galvanised or some sort of rust treatment, because mowing really, the steel in the trailers doesn't stand up to the mowing, the grass, the wet grass, and that makes them rust out. Anyway, this is just a quick whip around. That's a Green Touch backpack sprayer, not blower rack. The strap comes undone and my sprayer sits in there, and the way it's mounted, there's a little gap between there and the trailer, and I can put the lance in there which secures it, and which is really good to secure my backpack sprayer. I don't have a backpack blower rack on this trailer because I don't use my backpack blower much. I don't even use my trailer much anymore. On the front here I've got a 2-position Green Touch trimmer rack, which is really good. The only thing I don't like about it is this is the older model. I believe there's a version 3 now. See how the paint has dulled? I believe it's powder coated and it's weathered badly. How these work, the blocks on that you put on your trimmer that come with the racks, it's got a pin, slips in there. Same on this end. That block slides in there. This trigger locks it, you push that up and you pull your trimmer out and pin that down there and your trimmer is out. Sorry, I'm doing this one-handed again. And these supports support the engine, so there's no flex in the shaft when you're bouncing along the road. I really like it. You can key lock it here if you want to. You can turn this around and that will lock it too. If you're not using the key, you know, and you're in and out of a day, if you've got that turned around, someone goes to pinch. If they don't know how the rack works, they'll be fumbling around a bit. Anyway, I have the drawbar toolbox on it, which I just keep some grass bags in. And that's my trailer setup, which is quite good. It does me. I mean, when I had 120 lawns, that trailer was big enough. It used to fit the ride-on in the back, which was a 42-inch MB Walker. Used to fit in there easily, with the deck up, of course. I had a 42-inch Toro once that used to go in there. I even had a collection walker, the MT collection walker, and it used to fit in there too with the deck up. So yeah, it's not a bad size. Obviously, when there's a ride-on in there, you can't fit any rubbish or anything else in the bin, but you know, it is what it is. So anyway, I tow that with my dual cab Hilux. It's a V6. I needed the dual cab because I've got kids that I pick up from school, so which has sacrificed a bit of tray space with the dual cab, but there's enough room in here to fit. My mower goes in here. The wheels lock onto those little wooden blocks. The snippers go here. Blower in the toolbox. Fuel cans in the back here, and my Atom Edge just sits up here, strapped to with a hockey strap standing up. So I can carry all the gear I need in here. I have boxes here on each side, which are very handy. I carry my trimmer line in this side. I've got a drawer under the tray, which is handy for secateurs and loppers and things like that, and just odds and ends, tools, and that's how I get around. The setup I have now is really good because I have a roller door in the shed there, so I put that roller door up and can hook my trailer up, which is really neat. The tools I use, that's my battery 8-litre sprayer, a couple of fuel cans, 2-stroke and 4-stroke. I don't carry the backpack sprayers, only if I need them. Atom edger, which is, I've always had an atom edger. I have a steel multi-tool with a petrol power head, which I don't use very much these days. Hedge trimmer attachment, pole saw attachment. That's the 325 ILK battery Husqvarna split shaft snipper. The steel hedge trimmer, the 525 LST Husqvarna whipper snipper, and the Husqvarna pole hedge trimmers. I have both those, the telescopic one and the fixed length one. The fixed length one gets used the most. Still handheld HSA 86 hedgie, and I have the Husqvarna hedge trimmer too, which is a nice machine. They're all my hand tools that I use. As you can see, I love the battery stuff. I've gone right off buying any new petrol stuff. I'd like to buy the battery power head for these steel attachments. The petrol power head I've got isn't there, it's in another shed at the moment. I also have a billycoat vacuum, which is handy if you do a lot of hedging. At one stage I did as many hedges as I do lawns, and that was worth its weight in gold. Just a quick rake up of the heavier stuff, and you run that along, that cleans it up better than you can ever rake it up. Yeah, they're a fantastic machine, but they're very bulky. They take up a lot of room. So if you're thinking of it, just that's one thing to think about, is the physical size of the machine. Yeah, it takes up a lot of room. If I put that in the trailer, there's no room for much else. You know, maybe a couple of wool bags, and that's about it. So there's something to be wary of. A backpack blower is BR 700 steel. I have a Victor 560 mulch master in there with a Honda motor on it, and I have 3 HAU 216s. 2 are the older style, like this one without the blade brake, and 1 relatively new one with the blade brake. This is just, I've downsized. I used to have about 5 Hondas, and because I just work on my own now and I've downsized my business, I don't have so many mowers, and I've only got this extra one because this came up on Marketplace cheap and I bought it. It hadn't been used very much, so that's why I picked that one up. I like the Honda mowers. I've used them for over 20 years, like probably 30 years, and I mean, back then it was the 214, I think, was the earliest. And they went to the 215 2-speed, which was good, and then they bought these 216s out. The Hondas I just find very reliable, easy to repair, cheap for parts, relatively cheap for parts, you know, and blades and everything, consumables are cheap, and the Honda motors are just reliable, which I like. You know, when you're out mowing lawns, you don't want to be stuffing around with unreliable equipment. The Victor Mulch Master there, it's a good machine. But again, I used to use that on my big lawns, and I don't have so many lawns like that now where I just mulch that are big areas. I mostly use the Hondas, so the Victor doesn't get used very much. But that's my setup, guys. I just thought I'd show you what I run. You know, it's not huge, but it's enough. You know, why don't I have a ride on now? Because I'm in the city, and like I say, I've downsized, so I don't need a ride on. I've got probably one lawn that I could use a ride on now, so it's pointless having it. You know, I'd be better off to get rid of that lawn than to buy another ride on. Whereas 15 years ago, I had a lot of lawns, and that's why I had the ride-ons. But anyway, you have to please yourself and buy what you want. And being in the city, you know, I mainly run out of the ute because it's easier to park. When I have the trailer hooked up, it's hard to park around town, so I only use the trailer if I have to in town, like that'll be for a clean-up job or a big pruning job or something like that. And I have a strata run that's a little bit out of town, and they're all close together, but they're just a little bit out of town, and I take the trailer for that. So yeah, that's my setup, and I just thought I'd show you so you know where I'm coming from when I make the other videos about equipment and stuff. That's how I roll. Okay, thanks guys, bye.